It's the kind of morning where everything is soft and quiet and there's a little bit of hope. Miyu woke up first. The house feels empty now without Jordan. It's calm. She has a coffee, she sits down, and she starts playing the piano. In the other room, the kids are slowly waking up. Sota is practicing in the boxing ring and taking a jog to clear his mind, trying his best to push his limits. Kaori is working on her motor skill, while Toki is working on social. Miyu realizes, oh my god, it's bunny day, and immediately starts whipping out her apron, and in no time the kitchen smells like carrot cake and soft frosting. Just as she's packing up the picnic basket for their park trip, there's a knock at the door. Akahito. He's holding a small basket of tulips, slightly sheepish, but he's there. He says he's just checking in, and Miyu smiles. We're heading to the park. Come with us? He nods, already carrying Kaori's glittery scooter. So off they go, basket, cookies, and kids, and all. It's the picture-perfect bunny day picnic at the park. Blue sky, soft breeze. The picnic blankets are sprawled out across the table, and Miyu's carefully unpacking the cupcakes, and Akahito tries to keep Toki from taste testing every single one. Kaori is halfway up a tree, screaming down how she's the bunny queen, and Toki chases after her. Miyu laughs, and Akahito just lounges back watching. Sota, though, sits a little wise off on the swing set. His sneakers scuff the mulch, and his bunny ears are tilted slightly askew. He's not mad, he just doesn't feel quite right. He watches as Miyu plays with Toki, and Kaori screams at Akahito as he chases her around the park. It feels like a page out of a storybook. He's halfway through an exaggerated sigh when Akahito sits down next to him and offers him a cookie. Akahito says that he was going to eat it, but he's too scared. He's not sure what the twins did. Sota smirks, but doesn't really say anything. Akahito smiles and says, they're loud and fast, but you're your own. You don't have to be like them. Every family's painting needs contrast, and you're the cool tones. Sota glances over at him, kind of confused of what he's trying to say. You're calling me sad blue? Akahito laughs, ruffling his hair. No, I'm saying you're the calm sky that makes the chaos look a little brighter. Just like that, Bunny Day was somewhat a success. Miyu heads off to work, and Akahito takes the kids back home. And Sota ends up eating his sandwich happily and realizing he might be a different brushstroke in this picture, but he's still a part of it. As our front door swings open from another long day at work, Miyu is glowing. The type of glow that says, I just got promoted and maxed my career. That's right, Miyu has finally maxed the mixology branch career. And Sota? Well, he has his chin up and a football jacket swinging over his shoulder with the cutest little smirk on his face. He plops down and casually says, I joined the football team, and heads off to school. As Sota walks down the high school hallways, headphones in, he nods to the same three people he always saw but never actually talked to. But there's the usual buzz. Someone's science project exploded, someone else was definitely dating someone new, and the vending machine was still broken. First period flew by. Sota nearly dozed off in math until he remembered he had a pop quiz, then spent the rest of the class trying to pretend he totally meant to answer none of the bonus questions. Gym class was all running and yelling. He kicked a ball, maybe at someone on accident, and earned a high five he wasn't sure he deserved. Lunchtime was the real event. He sat with Ruben, his maybe crush, definitely best friend, and shared fries like it was a sacred ritual. They didn't talk much, just maybe exaggerated eye rolls at the couple making out near the library. Afternoon classes were a blur of scribbled notes and occasional doodles in the margin. By the time the final bell rang, Sota felt equal part exhausted and accomplished. like a teen movie protagonist just before the credits rolled. As class rolling out, backpack bouncing, humming a little tune, another day done, and he was ready to just go out and hang out with Ruben. The cafe doors jingled open as Sota stepped in. The smell of espresso and cinnamon instantly wrapped around him. Ruben was sitting in a cornerback table, already 2 mugs of coffee on there. One was clearly made for someone with a sweet tooth. Sota slid in, offering a half smile that tried very hard to not look like a full one. They pulled out their homework, math, unfortunately, and dove in, pen scribbling, eyebrows furrowing, and occasionally glancing up at each other with the shared expression of pure suffering. Ruben nudged his notebook once, pointing out a mistake with a smirk that made Sota groan dramatically and lay his head on the table in a mock despair. Every so often they paused to sip their drink. Soda's was lukewarm and bitter, and Ruben's was piled with whipped cream and sprinkles. She offered him a sip, and Sota coughed like it was poison, then took a second one just to be sure. They didn't finish all the homework, maybe just enough. As the sky outside darkened and the cafe lights glowed a little warmer, Sota realized he hadn't stopped smiling in at least an hour. Not bad for a study session, not bad at all. As the morning came, the kitchen was filled with the scent of rising dough and cinnamon. Miyu smiled as Kaori carefully arranged raisins onto a neat row of hot cross buns, while Sota took great pride in brushing the tops with a shiny glaze. Once breakfast was devoured and backpacks were slung over shoulders, the kids were out the door, with the usual last-minute scramble for homework and matching socks. The house went quiet. Not for long. Miyu realized that the counter was a bit too sticky, and just as she had the energy to clean it, her phone buzzed. An invite from Ku. GeekCon, let's nerd out. She grinned, slipped on her favorite graphic tee, and headed out into the bustling city. As she arrived, the colorful chaos of GeekCon greeted her. Cosplayers, bright booths, and that one guy in a llama costume dancing like his rent depended on it. And there, almost like fate, Ku, Akahito, and Sanki huddled by VR tournament screen, already deep in debate about robot builds and space-themed trivia. It was their little gang. They wandered the stalls, took awkward selfies under neon lights, and even tried their luck at the rocket building challenge, which Ku did amazing at. Miyu and Akahito took a little spin in the spaceship, maybe a little too much, and Miyu laughed until her cheeks hurt, listening to Sanki's deadpan tech jokes and Akahito's mock complaints about being beaten at arcade basketball. As the afternoon sun dipped behind the tall buildings, they gathered into the karaoke bar, their greasy festival teas and fries just spilling all across them as they joked about their old days and playfully argued over who was the nerdiest of them all. It was warm, it was weird, it was perfect. A day full of laughter, nostalgia, and friends who felt like home. And just like that, Miyu realized she doesn't need Jordan. She just needs her friends. She takes her last drink, watches as the boys have accidents, and heads on home. As the night flew by, the morning came and went. The kids had their breakfast and headed out to school, leaving Miyu to practice some piano before deciding, I haven't seen Jasmine in a long time. She called her up just as she maxed that piano skill and headed out to the art center. The art center was quiet, bathed in soft afternoon light streaming through the tall gallery windows. The hum of low jazz played from a nearby speaker, barely audible over the occasional brushstroke or giggle. Jasmine and Miyu had claimed a pair of easels tucked in a cozy corner where the lighting was best and the snacks were within arm's reach. Jasmine was already halfway into an abstract masterpiece, while Miyu was just squinting at her blank canvas. They sipped lattes from mismatched mugs and began to paint, or in Miyu's case, enthusiastically attempt to paint, while mostly gossiping. They were smirks, exchanged, a few dramatic gasps, some poorly whispered updates about Miyu's tangled love life, which did detangle within the last few days. And there were a lot of laughs. So loud that the elderly pottery class across the room gave them a collective side-eye. At one point, Jasmine tried to explain some blending techniques that were seen in the art pieces, but just ended in Miyu claiming it was conceptual chaos. By the end, they had decided that they had to do this again and to keep being in contact, no matter what happened. And as the kids came back from school, Toki and Kaori, backpacks bouncing, decided to meet up with Nara outside their favorite little cafe that smelled like cinnamon. Inside, the air was sweet, the scent of fresh pastries and warm milk foam. They claimed the window seat, the one with the squishy cushions, and went right into it. Homework books were flopped onto the table, and they began their serious academic mission. That lasted all of 10 minutes. Nara brought out a glitter pen, and Kaori dared Toki to write their entire history paragraph in rainbow ink, and Toki accepted. Somewhere along the line, a whipped cream mustache contest broke out, and Kaori obviously won since her mustache curled at the end. Occasionally, they actually did do homework, solving a math problem here, finishing a vocab list there, but more importantly, they talked. About school, how weird grown-ups were, their dreams of adopting a bunny together and raising it on pastries, and most importantly, about what was happening at home. By the end of it, their cheeks hurt from laughing, their notebooks were full of doodles, and they had successfully completed about 68% of their assignments, but their hearts were 100% full. They packed up and waved goodbye to the barista, who gave them the extra cookie. The sun was setting just enough to turn the sidewalks golden. A perfect, cozy adventure, and a day that they'd remember forever, even if their math homework was mysteriously sticky with jam. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to stay tuned for the next one. Stay safe, stay cozy. Bye!